Hi everyone, this is Teacher Jen from camgush.com and welcome to another fun and exciting lesson from Exploring English Book 6. This is by Tim Harris and Alan Rowe. In our previous lesson, we already read the first part of this story. So for today's lesson, we are going to read the second part or second page of this story. So now let's go on. I'm gonna read again the following. I want you to listen carefully, okay? So let's start now. Quite a few people have gathered at Martinoli's. They are discussing the election and the events of the day. Barbara is taking Tino's place, waiting on tables while he runs across the street to vote. Well, Barbara, Nancy Payne is saying, I guess there's no doubt about how you voted, is there? What do you mean, Nancy? Asks Barbara. I mean, since you work for Bascom, you must have felt obliged to give him your vote. Why, Nancy Payne, I'm surprised at you. How could you even imagine such a thing? The fact that I work for Mr. Bascom has nothing to do with my private life. Do you mean to say that you voted for Otis? Asks Nancy. I find that hard to believe. It's really none of your business who I voted for, Nancy Payne, replied Barbara angrily. But yes, as a matter of fact, I voted for Otis because I think he's the best man for the job. Just then, Peter sees Dr. Pasto walking by. Dr. Pasto, he calls out, come and have an iced tea with us and tell us who you voted for. Dr. Pasto smiles and replies, I'll happily accept your kind invitation to drink an iced tea, but as for telling you who I voted for, that, my friend, is a secret I shall carry to the grave. But Dr. Pasto, says Maria, do you mean to say that you're afraid to tell us who you voted for? My dear young lady, said Dr. Pasto, it's not cowardice, but common sense. First, my firm conviction is that the secret ballot is the keystone of the democratic process. Second, experience has shown me that he who remains in silence gives neither displeasure to his friends nor comfort to his enemies. Now, students, I want you to read this part again on your own. To do that, you can pause this video for a while, then read. When you are done, you can press play so that we can continue on the next page. Oh, Dr. Pasto, that's silly, says Gloria. We're all mature adults. We aren't going to let a little thing like a political disagreement come between friends. Dr. Pasto merely smiles and gestures toward the sidewalk where Anne and Johnny are passing by. They are having a heated argument and don't notice anyone around them. Anne is speaking. Oh, Johnny, how could you be so silly? You knew Otis was my candidate. That's right, Anne. He was your candidate. But I felt that Mr. Bascom was better qualified to run the city. Johnny was gesticulating wildly. And who are you calling silly? The trouble with you is you never use your head. Don't shout at me. I'm not shouting at you. Leave me alone. I never want to see you again. Likewise. Dr. Pasto sips his iced tea. That's politics, he says. Have I made my point? Mr. Bascom has been working hard at the bank all day, trying to catch up on all the work he didn't do during the campaign. Suddenly, he realizes that it is very late. If he doesn't hurry, he won't arrive at the polls in time to vote. He rushes out of the bank just in time to see Barney pulling up to the curb in his taxi. He runs over and is about to open the door when a voice stops him. I'm sorry, Mr. Bascom, but I believe this is my taxi. It's Otis. No, I'm sorry, Otis, but I saw Barney first. Besides, this is an emergency. I have only 10 minutes to get over to the firehouse and vote. What a coincidence, Mr. Bascom. I have just 10 minutes to get over to the public school and vote. I've been so busy all day that I forgot to vote myself. Well, says Mr. Bascom, I guess we're both in the same boat. But what are we going to do? There isn't enough time for both of us to go to the polls. Look, Mr. Bascom, says Otis, I have an idea. Since there isn't enough time for both of us to vote and we can't decide who saw the taxi first, let's compromise by not voting. Why, of course, says Mr. Bascom. I was going to vote for myself, and you naturally were going to vote for yourself. If neither of us votes, it'll come out the same. This way, no one will get hurt. Come on, Otis, let me treat you to a cup of coffee. So long, Barney. Politicians, mutters Barney under his breath as Otis and Mr. Bascom walk off. This way no one gets hurt. No one but me, that is. What about my fare? Now, students, I want you to read this part of the story again. To do that, you can pause this video again for a while so that you can read. When you are done, please press play so that we can continue on our lesson. Now, I want you to review these 2 pages of the story, and we are going to continue it again on the next video, okay? So this is the end of our lesson. This is Teacher Jen from camgush.com saying goodbye and see you on our next video. Goodbye!